and gentlemen, this is your favorite motivational TV show, Who Has a Right to Be Motivated? My name is Emdee Tiamiyu, the king of motivation. Today, on this episode, I am bringing you yet another guest who is absolutely amazing and, of course, has a right to be motivated. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Mr. Samson Ogbole on my show today. And Mr. Samson, like a lot of you already know, is a farmer. Not just a farmer, he's a leader in the agricultural space. He's doing a lot of work regarding aeroponics, which is soilless farming. You probably have read about that, but today we want to explore the motivational secrets of Mr. Samson Ogbole. So thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you so much. Mr. Emdee Tiamiyu.
Thank you for having me around, and it's been a great pleasure being with you. I've been looking forward to this day to see, to come a bit closer to the crops, to see how you do all of the magic, because we just watch it on TV, CNN, and all of that. So let's get straight to business. Who in the world is Samson Ogbole?
I'm just an ordinary farmer. So I say I'm farmer Samson Ogbole. First and foremost a farmer, then a biochemist, and because I'm also a trained biochemist, then thirdly a nutrigenomist.
Wow.
So essentially I am a farmer as a person. I have been trained to be a biochemist, and I am training myself to be a nutrigenomist. So that so what differentiates me as a farmer from other farmers is I am not just growing crops for the purpose of food production, but rather as a biochemist, I am growing crops for the purpose of health. So for the purpose of health. Then as a nutrigenomist, I'm growing crops for the purpose of generational health. So because we understand that if we have what you call genetic diseases, so there are people who are able to have like better health genes that be transferred to their generation. So which means if we can correct the food, we can also correct some of the genes that are passed on from one generation to the next. So essentially as a farmer, I use agriculture as a tool to recreate the next generation.
Oh my God.
And ensure we have healthier people based on agriculture.
Wow. So biochemistry is a bit straightforward, because somehow we passed through the department when we're in university. So you wave, and I don't want to explain that, but nutrigenomist, it's like you joined nutrition and genetics together.
Yes.
And so you are trying to see how we can protect the next generation by making sure nutrition is right today. Oh God, inspiration.
You see, that is actually important, because you realize people will tell you it's not too common in Nigeria, not because it does not exist, but because we do not know. So you hear people in the much more civilized world like Europe tell you things like, I'm allergic to this and this. And the question I ask people is, if you are allergic to a food, it means there must also be a kind of food that is best for you. Now, if we understand that there are foods that are best for you, an easier way to understand that is the use of drugs. They tell you, okay, we want to test you to be sure the kind of drugs you should use, because there are the kind of drugs that will work best, meaning there are the kind of foods that will give you better health. So the genomics aspect is, over time I want to be able to have and say, people from this particular clan or this particular family, based on your genetic makeup, you should not just eat rice, you should eat abakaliki rice. So with abakaliki rice, you can prevent XY diseases that should normally show up in 4 years.
Wow.
But by eating the right food, you can stop this from showing up maybe in the next 50 years.
Exactly.
So that is the nutrigenomic aspect. So it's not just growing food for fun, it's first understanding the genomics of the human being, the genetic makeup of the different people, based on first the sex, the tribe, because of course as people we understand that with different tribes we have different genomic traits. So we look at the genomic makeup from tribe, sex, the kind of work you do and all of that, then over time we are able to grow crops that are best based on your genes. So you are not just eating for eating's sake, and that takes us back to the foundation of medicine, which says let food be your medicine and medicine your food.
Medicine your food.
So, but you realize that today that we have pushed that to be let drugs be your medicine. That's already a fundamental error.
So typically the solution to a lot of the diseases is locked in the food.
In the food.
And that's what you're trying to explore back.
Exactly.
To make sure we take maximum advantage of what nature already has provided
in store for us.
Well, this is super, super interesting. I know we're going to have a very wonderful time today. Let's jump into the second question. As a farmer, a very proud farmer, you just mentioned now that your background was biochemistry, and then somehow you've been able to connect biochemistry to agriculture. However, I want you to tell us your career path right now, your professional path that you're on. Was it chosen all along, or was it coincidental? When did you know that you're going to be a farmer?
I would say coincidental. Coincidental because I knew what I wanted, but the society told me how to get it, which over time was not the how. They gave me the how based on their understanding of what they thought was the way.
Okay.
Now, right from when I was young, I knew I always wanted to be in the healing business. When you tell people, I want to be in the healing business, I want to create health, the easiest path they tell you is go and become a medical doctor, go and study medicine. So first I went to McDonald's, started studying medicine, like, okay, once you are in medicine, you are able to heal. But in all of that, there was no fulfillment, because I got to realize when you work in an area, for example, if you work in, I'm not trying to cast any state, but if you work, for example, let's use Lagos State as an example. If you work in Ikoyi, 90% of the diseases that comes to you are the same.
Because you are together.
Because you are in the same environment. So what you pass through are predominantly the same.
True.
When you move to a place like a slum, let me not call anybody's place a slum, what they go through is essentially the same. And somehow it becomes boring. Because headache is headache, just from different people's perspective.
Yeah,
it's headache. And there had to be more. And the more came in when I went back and said, okay, first I tried studying anatomy. Funny enough, I went to Lautech for anatomy.
Wow.
While in Lautech, I spent a year. Fortunately or unfortunately, they said my admission was not done properly. So I had to go back and restart with biochemistry in Inage. And in the part of biochemistry, there was a different eye-opener to medicine. So medicine is more like, again, for medical doctors out there, you guys are doing a great job. But medicine is more like the footballers on the pitch. Biochemistry, anatomy are more like the coaches off the pitch.
Or the VAR.
Yes, off the pitch. So you don't see what they are doing, but you judge what they have done based on what the players are doing. So for a medical doctor to be able to do whatever it is they do on human body, somebody has actually taken time to study these things in depth. And that is where the biochemists, the physiologists, the anatomists, they all come in. And that's where these three forms like the core basis for the medical doctor. Now, why doing biochemistry once you finish a course in Nigeria, for those outside the country that do not know, we have what we call NYSC, so which is compulsory. I had to now
National Youth Service Corps.
Okay, which I had to go for. Now, it was interesting because at the time I was going for NYSC, I was 20-something. I was like, I'm almost at the. And they're like, no, you have to go. You have no option. So I went.
Compulsory.
I went, and fortunately, I was thrown into IITA. While in IITA, I got introduced to agriculture in a different form under Dr. Norbert Maria, and suddenly it all made sense. Now I saw I could get healing.
That was your original passion.
Exactly. So I could get healing first, looking at the farm, I understood the health of the people, I understood the problem
as a biochemist.
Internally as a biochemist, but did not understand the solution. Because I understood that from the biochemist point and from the medical doctor's point, something was already fundamentally wrong that we were not trained to correct. We are trained to manage.
And by using drugs.
By using drugs. But when I came into agriculture and I realized that, oh, okay, so this is where everything bad happens. Then it is put down to the people to eat, and somehow, boom, every other person takes it off.
So there are problems that are not necessary, and then we can actually correct it from the source.
Exactly, go back to the root. And with that, I was like, oh, okay.
That was like the lighting board. Dun, 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 dun.
This is where you needed to start from. So I understood the agriculture. So from the other side, it's kind of a coincidence because, I mean, posted to your state, there are 1,001 places that could have been posted to.
True.
Outside IITA.
True.
Even
that IITA is International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, just for the sake of people who don't know.
Thank you. So there were a lot of places that could have been posted to. But somehow, by luck, by chance, I was thrown into IITA. Inside IITA, there are many departments. I mean, as a biochemist, I could have been thrown into the biochemistry department, I could have been thrown into virology, any other of the department, but somehow I was thrown into yam improvement for income and food security department. And in that department, somehow I needed to work across different labs. So nature on its own understood my journey and made me pass through a lab where I would understand the nitty-gritty of agriculture from different perspectives.
Alright, welcome back guys to your favorite show, Who Has a Right to Be Motivated. I still have my favorite farmer, the farmer of the decade, on my show, Farmer Samson Ogbole. So our next question is pretty much about self-motivation. Now, when life shows itself, you know, and punches you in the face. I know you love boxing, but maybe you don't love it enough to be in the ring.
Not at all.
You know, so when life punches you in the face, because it does to everybody listening to us, how do you get back up? What's your secret to self-motivation?
Would I call it a secret? It's more of an, I don't know if there's a word like inflection. Just look inward and remember, I have a reason, I have a dream, and not the Martin Luther King type of dream that he died without seeing it come to pass, but I have a dream of healing. I need to get this done. And once I remember that, I try to understand, very important, I try to understand what happened. Did it happen to me or to the position I occupy? Because if it happened to the position I occupy, then it's not about me.
True.
It would have happened to any other person in that same position. And 99% of the time, things happen to the position, not to me. Because for things to, because most of the time when I tell people things happen to the position, they feel it happened to your family, that not to you. I'm like, no, any other person could have been my position in the family. And be in my stead.
So it comes down to understanding the difference between your person and your position.
So as a child born in a family, if something happens to my parents, same thing could have happened if it were another child in my place in the same family.
True.
So it's not about me, it's about the position I occupy at that time. And once I'm able to understand it happens to the position, it was never about me.
Yeah.
So why do I want to make everything that the consequences all about me? So what is about me is the vision I want to pursue.
Yeah.
Now, if something happens to the vision itself,
that would be my question now.
Now that is about me, because that is the vision. And if it's about the vision, I take my time to understand what went wrong. How did it go wrong? What can I do?
You measure it.
I measure it. And I am sincere with the fact that there are some things that would go wrong, not because you did not plan right, but because it's life.
They have to go wrong.
Some things just go wrong because it is life. And when that happens, it's life. I mean, it's life. I can't beat life. So just continue, move on to the next phase.
crying over it would not stop it from happening again because it's life.
So,
and life would always happen.
Just move on and...
but you don't move on until you have measured it and tried to learn something from it. Because they say that a pain really doesn't go away until it has taught you the lesson it's supposed to teach you.
I try to differentiate the pains. There are some pains that we may not be able to process and understand until you moved on. So if I try to understand it and I don't get it, I move on to the next level. Maybe over time you get to understand that, because most of the time you realize when we take too much time, I realize when I take too much time trying to analyze a pain, a hurt, there is this analysis paralysis that sets in that you start seeing problems where they never even existed.
You overanalyze.
So at some point I just tell myself, I try to understand what comes to me first. Now, in the process of time, in the process of life, you get to understand better. True. I mean, I like to use this example, which is like listening to, there are some music those days that we listened to and enjoy, but we did not understand.
True.
But over time, you hear the song and it's like,
this is what
that guy really is.
Will be like 15 years
down the line.
And
you realize there are some levels of maturity, knowledge that would make you understand the pain better.
True.
So I move on. It's not just about, it's not moving on to the next step, it's just moving on towards the goal.
Because the goal doesn't change.
The goal doesn't change. I'm saying not the next step because there is the father of faith in the Bible who I love so much, Abraham. I remember when God said move, and people asked him to where, he was like, I don't know. So there is the thing of movement in a direction you don't know.
True.
But you just understand there is an end.
Exactly.
And the end for me is there is a goal. So just move.
Exactly.
Do the next thing. It's not about I must figure out, it's like I'm driving towards Ikoyi. I may not know the address I am going to in Ikoyi yet, but I know Lagos.
Yeah.
So let me first get to Lagos. So I don't need to sit down here and be like,
worried,
where am I going to
in Ikoyi?
If I don't know, I am not moving. So in waiting and not moving is not helping where you are going.
True.
So start.
Cover the distance.
First, thank you. So my motivation is just, if it's about the goal, continue. Things happen.
Exactly.
Continue again.
Wow, this is super interesting. One, Mr. Samson has told us that you have to separate your person from your position, and also if it happens to your position, that's light. It could happen to anybody else. If it happens to your person, then it's about the goal you're trying to achieve. You measure it and then you move. Because if you cry about it over and over again, it doesn't change what has happened, and it doesn't also teach you any lesson. So it is when you move that you can actually apply whatever lesson you have actually found in that.
So let me add this in case it may help somebody.
Yes, please go ahead.
When a baby is born, the first thing that the baby must do is cry. If the baby refuses to cry, you beat the baby.
Yeah.
Now, this is the funny part. The baby doesn't know why he has to cry.
He doesn't know.
But we need him to cry. Now, if the baby says, I am not going to cry until I know the reason, the baby will die.
True.
Because the crying is the first breath that brings the life.
True.
So, it's not always about understanding at times. Just
believe the process.
Believe the process. Go through the process. This is super interesting. So when life pushes you or knocks you down or punches you in the face, it's part of the process. Because nobody ever had their glory or their achievement handed over to them. So we love you so much, just have it painless. It doesn't happen like that. I put my key in the door and it's open. It's not a testimony. That's what is expected.
That's what is expected. What do you want to talk about? You didn't overcome any problem. I say, praise the Lord, guys. I put the key in the door and the door opened. So why are we supposed to be excited? What are you waiting for? Oh my God. So let's talk about mentorship now. My fourth question, mentorship. Mentors play a lot of role, in helping us overcome obstacles that they have overcome. I like to quote Isaac Newton when he said that if I have seen further than my peers, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And that's very instructional, and it gives credence to everybody that's worked before him. And so for you, honest opinion, please. What do you think about mentorship? Is it a waste of time? Is it important? If you have mentors, would you like to mention them for us?
Yeah, mentorship is important. Now, personally, I would say you don't really need one mentor for every aspect of your life. So now, two, you can't call a mentor you don't have access to. So if I don't have access to, for example, if I decide to pick Nigeria's president as a mentor, he can't be my mentor because I don't have access
to him. But people around him who are close to him
can call him a mentor.
Call him a mentor.
Because in mentorship is not about what they teach you as much as what you understand about how they operate, the why behind what they do.
So even if they don't talk,
you understand.
Being around is the learning for you.
Exactly.
Because a lot of mentees will say, teach me this, teach me that, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. That's not how the mentorship
teaching shows you the acts. But when you work with the person, when you are around the person, you understand the how. You understand how they reason, why they think that way.
Why they do what they do.
Exactly. So yes, mentorship is important. Take for instance, in the agri sphere, I have various mentors who I work with closely. So one, we have Dr. Nobet Maruya. I love the fact that I learned research from him in a different way.
Wow.
I use the word different way because in school, while going through schooling in Nigeria, we were taught that project work should be you are running a research and we know the answer, so work your way to the answer, it must be positive. But with him, I learned research is I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody knows. If the answer comes out positive, why?
Why?
If it comes out negative, why? And that for me was really instructional because
freedom to try,
freedom
to make mistakes.
Exactly, because there was no fear of failure. It's understanding that failure in itself was a result we are looking forward to.
Exactly.
So it's not about whether you fail or you pass. For him, it was always about what was the process.
What kind of effort did you put in?
Can we replicate the process and get the same result you got, whether good or bad? Can we document it? Did you document it? So he's my one big time mentor.
Wow.
Then
kudos.
I have Madam Okwe of Okwe fans, Mrs. Okwe Show Welimo. Now, with her, I learned this thing about staying put to your belief. And staying put to your belief, she's an organic farmer.
Wow.
And being
an organic farmer?
Organic farming is you don't use any chemicals, nothing, totally healthy, you don't bring in anything external. And when we first talked, I understood the reason or the process, but I did not understand the why. Like organic farmers, if a cashew or if tomato normally sells for 50 naira, an organic tomato will probably sell for 200 naira. So the question is, why would you go to that people are not even willing to buy the 50 naira tomato, but you are growing 200 naira tomato? Why are you selling for?
Who will buy from you?
Who will buy from you? What of tweaking the standard a bit to increase profitability? And I remember she would always say, Samson, the health of the people eating this thing is on my head. Because I have told them this is organic.
And she's taking 100% responsibility.
If they eat it and anything happens to them, they may not be able to trace it back to me.
But
the creator,
my conscience,
will trace it back to me. Their death, their blood is on my hand. And that for me was really instructional. Instructional because she understood farming probably deeper than I thought. Because I was just looking at, okay, we just get it healthy, and she's like, no, we are not just getting it healthy. Getting it healthy is statistics. Put a name. I am getting Emdee healthy when he eats my food. I am getting Ofure healthy when she eats my food. You say when you put a face behind the food, you don't see them as numbers or customers. You see them as people that you are responsible for their life.
Wow.
And that for me has been instructional because I mean, gradually I had to start learning how to do that because I'll be honest with you, it wasn't like a normal thought. The normal thought is customers grow, it goes. And she's like, no, people you grow, they eat. So
starts from them and ends with them.
And that in itself has been different. So yes, I have different mentors depending on what I need to learn per time. So I go close. I try to understand the process, understand the why, because I realize as you imbibe the why they do the thing, you become more like them. And as you become more like them, it is easier for them to teach you what not to do.
Exactly.
Because when you are not more like them and they teach you what not to do, it looks like they are putting hurdles and obstacles before you.
True.
But when you understand their thinking, you can see how they see and understand what they tell you to avoid and why.
True. This is getting very, very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, who has a right to be motivated? That's the show. And definitely from the conversation so far, Farmer Samson Ogbole has a freaking right to be motivated. We're moving to the last two questions that I have for you. The first of the last is books. Books are very, very powerful documents. They are the ways why we are all not lost today. You know, we have something to fall back on. We have something to help us see back in time. You know, whether recently or way back in history. What two books would you say shifted your reality? You know, and you can recommend to whoever is watching right now to say, if you read these two books, at least what happened to me, you know, may happen to you positively, so that we can begin to help people shape their lives.
I would say number one would be How Stupidity Saved My Life.
Right. Okay, Chukwu Ofili. So, cheers to Ofili. Ofili, you're being mentioned here. We're going to start giving this video.
I like the book because essentially, growing up, we are taught to take life too serious. And that in itself is an issue because you realize we live through most of the day without overthinking things. You want to wear something, you don't overanalyze.
When you were younger.
And somehow, life made sense.
Of course.
And as we grew older, we started being taught this whole overthink things. Before you wear this, have you thought about this, what you want to wear? And you realize
does the color match?
And all of that. And you gradually move from being free to being a slave within your own rights.
A slave of other people's thinking.
And you start making choices as a slave. And How Stupidity Saved My Life, for me, the book is not really about what he said per se as much as what he did. Because at the end of the day, there were a lot of stupidity in the book to go around. And at the end,
I agree.
There is a book. There is an income. There is a life. At the end, it all makes sense.
It makes sense.
And so for the listeners, I would say, get people's books who understand that you can't take life too serious.
True.
At the end of the day, it's just life. I mean, nobody has the manual, nobody has hacked life.
No, nobody.
That can tell you this is the way to go, follow it, you are good.
Particularly because everybody's life is, in the end, unique. So nobody, even if people have hacked theirs, you know, they have not hacked yours. So hacking it is up to you.
I don't even think I've hacked mine.
Exactly.
It's still a length. I mean, there are some things I see myself and I'll be like, did I just do that? And there are some things that happen, I'm like, so I could do that.
Exactly.
It's still life. It's life. And so that's one book I would recommend.
How Stupidity Saved My Life by Chukwu Ofili.
Yeah, that's one book I would recommend. The second book,
you have only 2 chances.
Yeah, so the second book I'm looking at because I have...
I know you have a lot of great
books. So I'm looking at whose book should make the cut. Whose book?
That we're talking about a book that is inspiring and that will give people a reality shift, a shift from what they used to know and all of that. Yeah. So boom, give it to me.
Okay, maybe let me speak to. I'm thinking I should talk to those guys that like innovations and all of that.
Okay.
So I would say The Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton Christensen, a professor from Harvard University.
The Innovator's Dilemma.
The Innovator's Dilemma, yes. It's a book that would show you that one, again, nobody has hacked life.
Again,
it's really, really important because in the book you get to understand that the easiest or the craziest thing that can happen to you as an innovator is when you have a great idea and you have another great idea, how do you choose between these ideas? How do you decide which way to go? How do you implement the idea? When do you need people? When is the right time to run to people? Because there is this thing that goes around in my world, people say, "Nah, they will steal my idea." So Innovators Dilemma shows you when to meet people, which people to meet. Then, funny enough, it even teaches you how to start an innovative idea, how to think out things, how to improve on things. It's different because it's not a book that's, how was the word now? He's not telling you what to do. That's what I like about the book. Rather, he's telling you what other people have tried. And he allows these people to talk to you based on how they tried it. So the most important thing I think you will get out of the book is the principles for success are the same. The demonstrations of those principles differs. So it's not like 1 + 1 must be 2.
Yeah.
It's only telling you 1 + 1 will become 2, but how the 1 and 1 becomes 2 can differ.
Yeah.
So the road to Lagos, again I'm using Lagos State, Ikeja does not change. But the way to get to Ikeja, there are multiple roads.
True.
So the book just tells you these are the different roads. Now look at your situation and decide, do you like this road? If not, be an innovator, create another road. You know Ikeja.
That's last we get to the last.
Get to it. So I'll say they take that.
Alright, so 2 books that he has recommended. First is How Stupidity Saved My Life by
Very important.
Very important by Okechukwu Ofili. And the second book is The Innovators Dilemma. That's about it. We'll take a quick break. When we're back, we'll look at Samson's favorite quotes and we'll wrap up. Don't go anywhere. It's your favorite show. Who has a right to be motivated? Welcome back, and this is the final part where we begin to run home. But you know, we're not going anywhere until we explore what is Samson Ogbole's favorite quote. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look well, you see behind me, there's something written, and it's a quote that I've always seen on the internet by him. And today, it's such a huge honor to be sitting down with him for him to explain what that means. So I picked it just from your mouth now, that food production should not be seasonal because hunger is not seasonal. I won't forget that one anytime soon. So what do you mean by that, really?
Yeah, you realize when people shout the whole, especially in Nigeria, we have things like there is food scarcity, there is food insecurity, and all of that. You see, the reality is because in Nigeria we still produce food as farmers based on seasons. And when a crop is in season, it is literally very cheap. Now, once that crop goes out of season, it's either you don't find it. Completely. If you can find it, it is really expensive. So imagine if all crops could be in season all year round.
Wow.
By
default,
that
would look like paradise.
The price of food will drop by default. And
because there will be enough to go around.
There will be enough to go around.
Not that all of us are scrambling for maize.
Exactly. And much more than that, it is really cheap.
True.
For everybody to buy. Because realize when tomatoes is in season, the poor people amongst us can still buy.
True.
When maize is in season, the poor amongst us can still buy.
But when it is out of season,
only the cream de la cream can afford it. So if the food can always be in season, that is where our kind of farming comes in. The tech-based farming, where we are able to grow crops without depending on soil, which means we can grow the crops any time of the year.
Wow.
Meaning harvest can be any time of the year.
Yeah.
So essentially, we can grow our crops in any season.
Wow.
And this is important because
without soil.
Without soil. And this is important because hunger itself does not have season.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people wake up and say, for the past 4 months I've not been hungry. I'm not in the season of hunger. Hunger is an everyday thing.
True.
Worse than that, appetite is an everyday thing. Just that we have tried to condition our appetite to like some food when they are in season. When they are not in season, we like, appetite, shut up. That's too expensive. Think this way. So we believe that one of the easiest ways to ensure food security for the nation is
which is one of the United Nations
zero hunger is to ensure that we can grow our food without depending on season. And this is really paramount in a time where climate change
is hitting hard,
really hard. So we need to be able, and that is why we don't just want to produce food. The other part of this quote usually is, it must be done in a way that is healthy for the farmer, because it is not okay that in a community that the poorest of the poor are the farmers, the sickest of the sick are the farmers. It doesn't make sense.
True.
So the process of food production first will be healthy for the farmer. It must be healthy for the consumer, then it must be healthy for the environment. So we are not just about producing food, it must be produced in a healthy way. It is of no use having food when people that will eat it are dead.
True.
So there must be a balance.
But when we wrap it up, it's been a very fantastic time with with one of the leaders of Aeroponics in Nigeria and Africa, Mr. Samson Ogbole. Is a farmer, a trained biochemist, and a nutrigenomics. I mean, I'm twisting my tongue here. But ladies and gentlemen, this is how we wrap it up. My name is Emdee, Tiamiyu, the king of motivation. I have a right to be motivated, and Farmer Samson Ogbole has a right to be motivated. Guess who has a right to be motivated? You have a right to be motivated. So until next time when we catch up with you, bye-bye and stay motivated.
Should not be seasonal because hunger is not seasonal.
Clap for yourself. Pa, 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 pa.
Bravo!
This is not my line. Apart from speaking, coaching, and training, I don't know what else I really can do. But if I try to explain soilless farming to people, it's just difficult. Especially my mom. When I told her a couple of days ago that I'm going to meet a friend of mine who's into soilless farming, she said, how are they doing it? Without soil. What's like the what do you call it? The bedrock of soilless farming. I know you can't really go deep, and this is not the show for that. And so, how are plants able to grow without their mother? That we think the soil is the mother, because so if you snatch the child away from the mom, how is the child able to survive?
Well, it's simple. It's really about understanding the function of the soil itself. For the older folks, I try to remind them that in the past, while they were growing up, when they buy vegetables from the market, there was no fridge. For them to keep the vegetables, they throw them inside water. They put the shoot part or towards the root part in water. And you realize that if you ask them, they will tell you that if they leave the vegetables for inside the water for long, it starts producing roots. Meaning the guy is already growing
by itself.
If I needed it to continue to grow, I will add fertilizer inside the water. It continues to grow.
Without soil.
And this is the reason. If we understand that the function of soil is just three basic things: support the plants, provide air, provide water. Finish.
So support air and water.
Allow for aeration, water. Soil does not provide nutrients. Because by itself, because if soil provided nutrients, we won't need fertilizer or manure.
True.
So if I can perform these three basic functions without the soil, the plant will grow. It's like serving somebody the food. I don't care whether it's in calabash or in leaf or in golden plate. The most important thing is the food. So for the plant, it's
oh my God, I love that example. I'm hungry, guy. Like whether you put it in takeaway pack or you put it inside nylon, food.
First, give me food.
I'm eating.
Is when somebody is satisfied, you start looking at the medium the food came to like.
Exactly. Oh, it didn't come with the soil, and I love the soil. Oh.
So at the end of the day, and so with soilless farming, we can now grow the crops
all year round, all season round, and in any place. You can actually like turn a living room into a farm if you like it. So there's no limit. So the farming is not just soilless; it's also limitless.
It's anywhere you like.
It's anywhere you like, as long as there's air, there's water, and there's nutrient for the plant. Because as I was trying to explain this to my mom, I told her that has she ever noticed that when you put a yam, like a tuber of yam, in the kitchen, and then you leave it for a while, it begins to grow,
starts growing,
like without anything, without the soil,
now
on tiles.
it's growing because it has its own food inside. So if you leave it there for long, once it exhausts that food, it die.
Okay.